right?
BWTM, we're live, Uncle. And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to 2018 BWTM Sports, and the first person to be talking to in 2018, trainer, mentor, coach, teacher, Uncle James Ali Bashir. Welcome, Uncle.
I'm glad to be here.
We know we're live. So how you doing, Uncle?
I'm doing fine. Thank God I'm fine.
So what's been going on? We haven't spoken to you since November. We've had some technical issues trying to get in contact with you. So what's been going on with you?
I've been moving around. I'm inside Ukraine now, and my intentions is to move into South Africa this weekend, Friday, maybe Saturday. I'll move into South Africa and begin the training camp with Sirenko.
We know
they're in South Africa preparing. They're doing the conditioning and road work and stuff. But when I come to the training camp, that's when the sparring begins and the plot begins for the fights that we have coming up.
Let's review 2017. The last thing I heard was either Visser or Sirenko had a fight coming up November, December time, and I didn't hear from you after that fight. So tell us what happened.
Oh yeah, we Vlad Sirenko for the fight. Ron Visser was supposed to fight the fight, and he has some issues with his rotator cuff. Okay. So we pulled him out of the fight and put Vlad in with the guy that Ron was supposed to fight, and Vlad beat him over a 6-round decision.
That he fought.
I forgot his name. It's when you're at this level, but he was an accomplished journeyman fighter, very slick, very crafty, very resourceful. His name will come to it. Yeah. Well, you can just go to BoxRec and check Vlad Sirenko, and the name will come up. But the guy was a journeyman type guy, guy that knew all the tricks, how to survive in there. Because Vlad beat him over 6 rounds. He beat him every round. But the guy knew how to survive. He tried to create a stir before the fight about the gloves, and he did everything that that a professional journeyman does. He created problems, mental problems and physical problems in the ring. Sirenko overcame and won the decision. I was happy about that.
Were you upset that he didn't get a score or knockout?
No, I'm not. I'm not that kind of trainer. Knockouts are beautiful when you can get them, but I don't just knockouts to my fighters. I like knockouts like every trainer does. Beat my guy over the head because he's not able to knock the guy out. We tried in the first couple of rounds, and the second round ended. I told him to relax because the guy was trying to sneak in big shots near the end of the round. The last 20 of the round, the guy would explode these real quick, sharp punches. Any one of those punches could put a young fighter out. So I just said, just go out there and the game is boxing. I didn't want him to try so hard that he walked in to get to being knocked out himself.
Fair enough. The opponent and what he brought, were you happy with what Sirenko did in response?
He got a little frustrated the 4th or 5th round, and I just reassured him in the corner that you win the fight and keep doing what you're doing, and he did just that, and he won the fight. I didn't want him to go out there and stress himself trying to, because like I said, this guy that we fought, I forget his name, but he was a very resourceful guy. And when I looked at the record of with the guy's losses, he had been in there with a lot of different people. You know, Kevin Johnson, Molina, top guys in the world. So he was very adept at making adjustments and trying to steal decisions and trying to upset people. So I told Vlad Sirenko, don't try so hard because that's when you get knocked out. You know, so just go out there and box and win the round. So the guy's, he's a cutie pie. The guy's running around the rings, he's ducking, dodging, holding, you know, sneaking punches in on the break. You know, all the journeyman type things. And, you know, those things a lot of times help those kind of fighters get by. They clip a guy and knock him out. The guy can't recover.
Wow. So you have to be careful in what you're doing.
Yeah,
So
certainly you do. Certainly you do. I mean, you know, you underestimate these guys. You know, Larry Holmes versus Mike Weaver. You know, by all accounts, Weaver was supposed to have been an easy fight for Larry Holmes. To tell Mike Weaver that. And the fight became a very difficult fight for Larry Holmes. You can't just go in there and assume anything because every fight is different. Every fighter, every style is different. So the wise teacher is going to tell his charge, listen, go out there and do what you were trained to do. Yes, Vlad tried to get the knockout in the first 2-3 rounds. And I saw how hard he was working, how very winded. He was getting very frustrated with the guy, you know? And I had to reassure him, just calm down. We're winning the fight. Required you to win the fight. 6 rounds.
did that put any doubt in your mind about the punching power of Vlad Sirenko?
No, not at all. Not at all, because guys, like I said, the guy we was in there with was a very resourceful guy. And if you box rec and look at the guy's record, you'll see that this guy is evading me right now. I'm watching so many fights.
Yeah, while you're talking.
Yeah, I'm watching so many fights. So many fights till the names just running around my head and I can't lock down on one name. But if you look at the guy's record, he fought the who's who of the heavyweight division. And in most cases, the guy didn't get knocked out. Once or twice, but for the most part, he was in there to the distance with some good fighters.
Okay, I'm just trying to box rec his name now. Vlad Sirenko.
The guy was a very resourceful boxer. And the guy was just trying to get lucky.
Jamal Woods.
If you check Jamal's record, you'll see Jamal Woods fought the who's who of the heavyweight. In fact, I'm looking to put Visser in there with him too. I want Ruan to fight. More experience. You know, isn't in that guy out. You can't hardly hit the guy. The guy's slipping, ducking, and dodging on the distance. And he can create problems for young upstarts like Vlad Sirenko. So, you know, I'd like for Ron Visser to fight him also.
So, from Visser now that obviously he hasn't fought.
We're going to fight for the South African title in just a couple of months. The South African title, and Vlad Sirenko's next fight will be for the WBC youth title.
Where's that fight going to be?
We're going to fight in Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Be against?
Names yet. Every time we get a name for Sirenko, they pull out.
Okay, so
you know, every time we you know we get a viable guy for Sirenko, they pull out, or either they want ridiculous money.
Vlad Sirenko fights for WBC Youth title. What is that? How do you qualify to fight for the WBC Youth title, and where does it take you?
I mean, you get, and then somehow you come from a position at the top of the ladder, and then you come in, you match the guys up with guys at the same level.
Right.
Then you say, well, do you want to fight Vlad Sirenko? Vlad Sirenko says, yes, I want to fight this guy. And this says, all right, will you fight Vlad Sirenko for the youth title? The guy look at it and said, no, I don't want Sirenko. Okay, he's out of the way, so we move up another notch. No, I don't want Sirenko. Or either I want ridiculous money to fight Sirenko. And I'm saying Sirenko only has 4 fights. He's 4-0 with 3 knockouts. But these guys look at the Sirenko, might be more than they can handle, so they want to cash out. And they ask them for ridiculous money. The fight for the WBC Youth title. I say, yeah, this is a fight. This is a title that you should have 10 to 15 fights to. But we don't have that kind of time. So we'll fight for it with 4 fights. Because Sirenko's advanced amateur background, I think that we can fight for that title right now. I don't care. I don't care. As long as the guy has under 18 fights, we'll take him.
Okay. So talk to us about, obviously, after you won that fight, there was talk of you moving to Texas. What happened with all that?
Well, we was in Las Vegas for 11 weeks, and that didn't pan out the way that we had thought that it would pan out. Like I said, we had guys that we thought was going to fight, but at the last minute they wanted to shake their promoter down for money, for excessive money, and those fights fell through. And so we moved into Texas for another 6 weeks. Texas, we come up with 1 fight that was the Jamal Wood fights, and after that, we packed our bags and Vlad and I came to Ukraine, and Ron went back to South Africa. Now Vlad left here. He left Ukraine in South Africa, soaking up all of that good sun while I'm up here in the cold in Ukraine.
So you're going to go and join them in South Africa, and you'll get the fights. Have you got the quality of sparring necessary to bring your guys on in South Africa?
We're gonna bring in some guys in South Africa because the heavyweight scene in South Africa is not good. Look to Mozambique. We might have to get on planes and travel around to get some sparring. But in the meantime, Vlad has Ron and Ron has Vlad. Both of them will fight guys. So yeah, I think that the 2 of them sparring will be sufficient until we can get more sparring.
Okay. Sirenko did an interview the other day. I heard about it, and he was quite critical of the Texas in terms of the quality of sparring less in Texas. I think something like he mentioned about the quality of sparring, and he also talked about the promoters and how they didn't fulfill their word. Something is like that he said in the interview. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, the promoter in Las Vegas didn't come through the way that he intended to. I don't believe that the promoter intended to fail, but he did fail. And that's probably what Vlad is talking about. But, people don't know that the promoters go through a lot of stuff to make these fights. So you can't be critical of all of them. Some of them are crooked people. And then you have some good guys out there trying to make it happen, but just don't have the resources to make it happen. So that's probably what he was talking about. He's a little frustrated. You got a guy training for 11 weeks when he's down there, training, and then the fight was supposed to take place then. Then they said, no, the fight is going to take place 2 weeks from now, and then that falls through. So the fighters get a little antsy, a little upset, rightfully so. These guys are beating on each other in the gym constantly, and it gets tiring, you know.
Right.
It gets tiring, and they get upset when they don't fight. So, you know,
So
pros and cons are.
contractually, would you not sign with a bigger promoter to get the opportunities, or are the big promoters not interested in the moment?
And these guys got 4 fights. Ron's got 15 fights. You know, but in my mind, those 15 fights are not enough. He's 13 more than one with 13 knockouts. But he needs better fights to establish himself as a viable heavyweight contender. So I don't want to sign them with any promoter yet until they prove their worth. When they'll become valuable to any promoter that wishes to sign them, and when they wish to sign them, then they'll come with the checkbook.
I'm not sure if you're aware, Uncle, that I actually got a chance to speak one-on-one with Evander the Real Deal Holyfield.
No, I'm not aware.
Yeah, I did speak with him. I did an interview with him. I think I spoke to him for about 20 minutes. In the interview, I asked him 2 things. What 2 things in particular? First thing we asked him about the Vladimir Klitschko comeback. Vladimir Klitschko posted a video, I think, near the end of the year. He posted a video with him saying, "I've still got it." And he was in the gym and he was in the ring. And I asked Evander, "What do you think of Vladimir coming back again?" He said, "If I were him now, I would stay retired." What are your thoughts on this, Uncle?
It's funny that you asked that, because I've spoken to Vladimir Klitschko on 3, maybe 4 different occasions. And recently I met with Vladimir Klitschko not more than 10 days ago. We were in Austria together. Yeah, he flew me into Austria, and we spent a couple of days there. And you know, I said, look, if your goal is to be the three-time heavyweight champion, then come on, let's dust off the trunk and let's go to work here. You know, no, I'm not thinking about boxing right now. I'm happy about the decision I made. And I keep telling him, I said, listen, man, you're kidding yourself. This is what I'm saying to Vladimir Klitschko. And I'm saying this here not more than 10 days ago. You're fooling yourself, because I get the impression, I get the gut feeling that you're not finished with boxing. So if you're not finished with boxing, what are we doing here? Why are we wasting time? We need to be out here working. We need to be constantly working, preparing for this here. Constantly working and preparing for this fight. Get back. So I said, we got Joseph Park out there. We got Deontay Wilder out there. Those 2 guys, I don't believe that they would have gotten up. They may, about me saying this here, but I don't think they would have got up from the same knockdown that AJ got up from. AJ got up, and he proved himself. And I've always said that about AJ. I said from the very beginning, I said that first work with AJ inside the training camp. When we first, I said to you, let's go back 4 or 5 years ago. I said to you that if AJ has the ability, if he has the resolve to recover from being hurt, to recover from being knocked down, to recover from being beat up for a round or 2, to recover with swallowing his own blood. Remember, I said this to you years ago. I said, if he can do that, then he'll be the second coming of George Foreman. I said that to you. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
As it turned out, he did it. He did it. You know, but I still don't think that Deontay or Joseph Parker, I don't think that they would have recovered from that same punch.
Well, Evander Holyfield said Evander thinks he shouldn't even bother coming back to boxing again. He should leave it where it is.
Why? Did he say why?
He said that, you know, at that age, when you get to that age, your body don't respond the way that you may want it to.
Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko are two of the best conditioned fighters to come along division anyway in the last 50 years. I think that they were very well conditioned of mind and body when they came in the ring. And looking at the two of them now, you still can't say they can. I still think they can do it.
Okay.
I think either one of them can do it if they put their mind to it. If they put their heart and soul to it. I think Vitaly Klitschko can come back at 45, 46. I think he can come back. I think he can do it.
Uncle, I just got to stop you. We've got some people in the room. Eugene says, ho, ho, Happy New Year.
Yeah, tell Happy New Year.
Then we've got 68 Dark Rendezvous. Says, big shout out to Master Ali Bashir.
Tell him thank you.
And truth and some facts about boxing. Bo Bland says, hey, Happy New Year. Tell Uncle James I said Happy New Year.
Who's that, Bo?
Yes.
Tell Joe. Tell Bo, well received, man.
And then Phil Yol UK says Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to him too.
Yeah, Uncle James is tucking into some mince pies. And some red wine, eh, Uncle?
Huh?
You're tucking in some mince pies and some red wine from last night.
No, I got me some good old ginger tea right in front of me. Pure ginger and lemon.
That's some good stuff you got there, Uncle.
Pure ginger. I mean, this ginger is opening me up too. You know, I love it.
Right. So Evander then went on. After Evander talked about that, he then I asked him about Tyson Fury's comeback, and he said to me he wasn't a believer in Tyson Fury's comeback either. And he said, once you get up on the horse and you get up and you get to the top of the mountain, it's very hard to get back up the mountain again.
Yeah, I agree with him. I think with Vladimir Klitschko that there's a bug biting him. And for what reason he's suppressing it, I don't know. It could be any reason, but I believe that there's something in his gut that's telling him to box. From what I know about him, I've been around the man 14 years. And in the meeting that we had in a hotel recently in Austria, he still didn't quite concede that I'm retired. He just didn't concede that I'm retired.
So what was going on behind the scenes of Joshua Vladimir Klitschko 2, the negotiations? Because a fight was going to happen, and then suddenly he retires. Was that a contractual thing? Was that Eddie Hearn? What was it? What was the reason why he didn't fight? Did he tell you?
I just think outside forces. Maybe his wife. I think a little outside influences. Somebody probably say, hey, why don't you retire? You don't need this no more. You know, people say different things. And I'm one for that. When a guy don't have it no more, I'm the first guy that says, hey, get out. Get out before you get your brain scattered. I'm the first guy that comes to a fight and says, look, get out. But I don't get that impression from Vladimir Klitschko. I have a lot of confidence in this guy and his desire and his work ethic.
Yeah, but that's all well and good. But Vitaly Klitschko and Vladimir basically screw up a game plan. He could have been heavyweight champion of the world again. What's to say that's not going to happen again?
There's nothing to say that. Some people are stubborn in that they won't change their approach to doing something. You know, and I've seen fighters like that, and I still see fighters like that. Some fighters win the gold medal, they win the bronze medal, the silver medal, and they have a vast amateur background. They feel like I'll do this. Just give me somebody in the corner, give me some water, pat me on the back or something, and I can do the rest. But I think that every boxer needs a sound teacher, a sound trainer. You have the trainer that's the great corner man, and you have the trainer that's the great hands-on technician inside the gym. Very rarely do you find both of those kind of trainers combined, where the trainer is adept at making quick decisions in the corner and adapt at giving the boxer sound application in the gym. Very seldom do you find the two. There's a stark difference between the two.
Okay. Would you consider, Eugene asked this question, would you consider training a guy who's been out of the ring for 5 years in Vitali, should he decide to come back?
Heck yeah, I'd train Vitali. I train Vitali simply because of his mentality. Yeah, I'd train him. I said to Vitali, we was in Austria, like I said a few days ago, and I said to Vitali, you was talking about coming back to revenge your brother's loss against AJ. I said, was that just a night of drinking some of that what is this here stuff the Russians drink?
Vodka?
Vodka. I said, is that something that you thought of after a night of drinking vodka? And he looked at me and said, of course it was. He said, of course it was. So, but if Vitali made up his mind that he wanted to fight, I would train him. And I wouldn't do that with every fighter. But a guy of his caliber, knowing what I know about him, yeah, I'd train him.
Well, hold on.
Because
I heard stories that him and Joshua almost came to blows in the corner after Vladimir just lost.
Yeah, they said, Vitali misunderstood something that Anthony said, but it wasn't Anthony's fault. It was Vitali. He was emotional, and he mistook a move, a gesture that Anthony made. But the gesture was to say that he applauded Vladimir. Vitali thought that he was saying something different, so he got a little upset at first, but it was quickly resolved.
But he was saying he was feeling the need to come back, or he was going to come back.
I still think he's playing with it in his head, but he needs to get started. He's going to do it. Because at 40, you still have youth left. If a guy conditions himself, 40, 45 years old is not a death sentence for big guys. Cruiserweights and heavyweights. Anything below that, because they got to make weight and stuff. But the cruiserweight and heavyweight, they can hang around a little longer if they can fight, And Vitali and Vladimir Klitschko knows how to fight. So what might be a difficult fight for some people won't be as difficult the two brothers because they're so adept at fighting.
Okay.
I would definitely train either one of them, because of their work ethic and their mentality. I know these guys. These guys are fighters.
We've just had a question come out, a comment by Bob Simons. I'm not quite sure what triggered it off, but he says, I think Wilder's toughness is being underrated. He walked through some big bombs in the Hayes sparring 6 years ago and isn't as bad as a boxer as everyone seems to think.
I think that Deontay Wilder is trying too hard for acceptance from the boxing public. that he needs to put more investment in his defense and in his offense. He's a big puncher, and yes, he's got to have courage, you know, to think the way Deontay Wilder thinks, and to get out there in that ring. I mean, he might be underestimated to some degree, but I think he's trying too hard for acceptance from the boxing public when in reality he needs to just concentrate on getting better and dominating what's in front of him. Like, what is Deontay, 39-0?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's moving right along. Just keep going. I mean, he's not the first guy in history that didn't fight. You know, people keep saying that he didn't fight in the top 10 or he fight bums or this, that, and he's fighting the guys that they're putting in front of him. And I think that Deontay Wilder, if given time, he'll get better. But I think that he won't get that time to get better. He's a big puncher. But I think that there's a lot of work that he needs. He needs a lot of work. When I say a lot of work, he needs a lot of work.
Okay.
You know, you can't. That kind of approach to Parker and that kind of approach to AJ, I just don't see that kind of approach working. That, you know, going crazy after you land a big punch. Stuff working with Joseph Parker and Anthony Johnson. Deontay might have something to say about that because he's the man behind those bombs. But in my mind, I think that's going to take a little more than that to vanquish Joseph Parker and Joseph AJ.
Why'd you say this?
Because I think they're going to show more resilience. They're champions. They're not just going to go quietly into the night when you hit them. They're going to go quietly into the night. I see right at this point right now, based on what I've seen between the two of them, I'd have to go with AJ against Deontay. I like Deontay's heart. I like it that I like his mentality. But I like AJ's technique over Deontay's bombs. And I think that the technique is what wins out the day. Composure, application. I think that's what wins out the day in boxing. You know, it's something that the fans, the pundits, you know, these people have gotten away from what the art of boxing is all about. And they think it's like, God, throw these big punches. Our Sonny Liston. You know, our Sonny Liston, you know, I mean, Sonny Liston going into the Cassius Clay fight. Cassius Clay, they had a casket outside waiting for Cassius Clay. Why? Because Sonny Liston was such a big puncher. But when Sonny Liston met the adversity in the technique and style of a Cassius Clay, where was that big punching power? It was gone. It was gone. You know, he took his gloves and put it in his jock strap and said, that's what they're going to be at for this whole fight. So I think that people look at Deontay and say, oh, he's got a big punch, he can land punches. He's a big puncher, there's no doubt about it. He lands some kind of punches, he can put anybody to sleep. But I just don't see that getting rid of Joseph Parker and AJ.
From a training standpoint, Tyson Fury's decided to leave Peter Fury and go and train this new guy, Ben. I can't remember his last name again, but he's got a new trainer now. What are your thoughts on that? For this,
do you know the guy? I don't know.
you try and bully Joe Saunders for one fight, and I wasn't impressed with that. And a lot of people refer to him as more of a cheerleader than actual boxing technical trainer. But I don't know. To leave the guy who's made you, you know, taken you to the heavyweight championship of the world and guide you to that point. You know,
I don't. Yeah, you know, for him to leave Peter, I didn't understand that. But again, you know, like I said, these guys, they have a amateur career in back of them. You know, he's been the champion, so maybe he sees something in himself or feels something in himself where he needs that change. You know, but I'm big on discipline and loyalty. You know, I just think that when you look back on the fighters who have been really successful in their careers over the period of time, that those guys who stayed with the trainers and learned the trainers, and the trainers learned the boxing, those guys had the most success in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
They never left the trainers. They worked it out. They did what they did, but they stayed together and they worked it out. They went all the way to the end together.
I mean, the training. I mean, Peter trains him hard, and I think, but Peter explained part of the problem of the hard training, or why it's hard training, is because people don't discipline themselves outside the gym to allow their body to blow 2, 3, 4 stone. So when he comes back to gym, he's having to work all that weight off and then start training instead of, look, he said, I don't mind my fighter going up 25 pounds because he's a big guy. I don't mind that. But when I'm having to fight with him to take off 4 or 5 stone.
A guy like Tyson should only go up to 25 pounds. That's not bad for a heavyweight.
That's what Pete was saying.
25 pounds, that's a heavyweight's playground. All right? That's 25 pounds, but that's the max. And you get to other weight classes like welterweights and stuff like that, their max is 13 pounds. 11, 12, no more than 13 pounds. Otherwise, you're facing difficulty in making the weight when you come back. I mean, now it's the thing. Now, you know, everybody has a belt. You know, I saw where Adrian Bronner was saying, "Yeah, I'm a 4-division champion. You can't take that away from me." But 4-division champion fighting who? Who did he beat for those 4 belts? Can you tell me? Because I don't know. I don't know who he beat for those 4 belts. Can you tell me off the top of your head who Adrian Bronner beat for 4 belts? It wasn't like Aaron Pryor fighting Alexis Aguayo, Ray Leonard fighting Tommy Hearns, you know, Hagler fighting Alan Minter. I mean, those were notables. But who was he fighting? Who was he fighting to win those 4 titles? Do you know?
Did he beat Malignaggi for a title?
I don't know. I mean, but Paul Malignaggi, if you look at Paul Malignaggi, he's a good fighter, but he couldn't break an egg with a sledgehammer. You know, he couldn't break it. So there was no real threat. You know, there wasn't a real threat at all, you know. You're looking at fights that's really a threat. But who did Adrian Bronner? You're not answering?
Here we go. Here we go. He beat DeMarco, Malignaggi, Ala
Wait, he beat who?
DeMarco.
What DeMarco?
I don't know, some DeMarco he beat.
For world title?
Yes. DeMarco's his best win.
DeMarco?
Yeah, Escobedo.
Well, guess what? I don't know who DeMarco is. Alright? Who did he beat for the next one?
Antonio DeMarco is his name.
Okay. And he beat him for what? The junior lightweight title or the lightweight title?
Might have been for the lightweight title.
Okay, and then who else?
Escobedo.
Okay, Escobedo, who is he?
I ain't got a clue. The only name that I know out there that really stands out is Malignaggi.
There you go. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody and their mother got a belt. You got 50 different divisions, 50 different belts. You understand? When you had Henry Armstrong fighting for the lightweight, the welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And then fought for the middleweight title and held the champion to a draw in his own hometown. So that tells you that Armstrong really won that fight.
Vicente Escobedo.
Who?
Who? Oh, dear.
legitimacy of what I'm saying. What happened after Roland beat Escobedo?
You know, and
you never heard from him again.
He beat DeMarco. He beat DeMarco 135 for the WBC. He beat Khabib Al-Khadif for the 140 WBA, and he beat Paulie for the WBA 147. Thank you so much, Bob Sanders. He beat Khabib Al-Khadif 140.
Okay, exactly what I'm talking about. What happened to those guys after Adrian brought it forward? It disappeared. That's why I say the titles now. People always point out, they say, oh, Floyd Mayweather's the best because he's undefeated, but undefeated? Fighting who?
Wait.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you're undefeated. So Adrian brought him one of these 4 titles, but who did he compete against? The people he competed against had no name in boxing. And then after he beat him, what happened to him? You never heard from him again.
Okay, but Floyd Mayweather beat all the WBC champions up the weight classes.
And that Floyd fought bad people.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying that he didn't fight great champions. He didn't fight great champions. He fought who was there. People always say, well, he fought who was there. But there were some tough fights there that he didn't take. He didn't fight Miguel Cotto when Cotto was hot. He didn't fight those guys. Shane Mosley when Mosley was hot. They said, oh, well, he wanted to fight Mosley, but Mosley didn't want to fight. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was hot. This was before the...
As Floyd says, he's making smart business decisions. Which basically means...
And nobody, you know what? For one, I'm not one to knock him for making this decisions. But at the same time, there's a fan base out there thirsting and lusting for good fights, and Floyd didn't give him those fights. I wanted to see a young Roy Jones go into Great Britain to fight Collins, Ben, and Eubank. I wanted those fights. And even Mekushevsky. I wanted those fights. I'm not saying Roy couldn't have beat them, but why didn't you roll the dice and go over there and fight?
But wait, Roy, I just spoke about Roy only a few days ago, and I was actually, you know, almost in love with the fact that he left the super middleweight division, went up to light heavyweight division, and then fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. That was a great accomplishment.
Right. Timing.
Well, of course.
Timing. You know, timing. He saw a very vulnerable champion in John Ruiz, and he took advantage of it.
Well, hold on.
You know,
Hold on. You say that he was vulnerable. This is the same John Ruiz that knocked down Evander Holyfield and beat Evander Holyfield. That same Evander Holyfield still came back and gave Valiev and beat Valiev, but didn't get the decision. Oh, well, after that fight.
But from Roy's stance, he saw the vulnerabilities in Ruiz. He saw Ruiz was slow and predictable. That's what gave Roy really the courage to go up there and do that, because he said, I can get away with this with him.
That was still...
I can get away.
That was still a great move, though. I mean, how many super middleweights or light heavyweights do you know today that would do that? I mean, in today's era.
And I'm looking back at that here. If Roy had just closed the curtains on his career right there, he could live forever. He could live forever. If he had closed the door and said, that's it, I'm out. I got the heavyweight championship of the world. You know what? I'm not going to make a defense of this title because I did the impossible already by beating him. He could have lived off that victory forever.
But you know what? There were guys he could have fought in the heavyweight division. He could have fought a Michael Moorer.
fought Michael Moore, but
he could have fought Evander Holyfield even.
The if factor is, yeah, he could have fought Michael Moore, but the if factor is if Michael Moore lands something.
Jesus.
You understand? This is what Roy was looking at. The if factor was if Michael Moore lands something, it could be big problems.
But there was
so
yeah, go on.
Like I said, the best thing for him to do was to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I need to get out while I'm alive. And he could have lived off that victory forever. He didn't need Taffer. You know, he didn't need Taffer. He could have just said, you know what, I need to get out of the boxing right now. I do not need to go back and take a chance with Antonio Taffer. And if he had got out of boxing, then he could have lived off that victory forever.
He'd have been considered an immortal.
Left to speculate for the rest of his life. But then he gets knocked out by Taffer, and then gets knocked out by Glenn Johnson.
And then gets knocked out by Lebedev, and then gets knocked out by what's the guy? Danny Green. Oh my God! And then gets knocked out.
He gets knocked out by
Enzo Macronelli.
The guy Macronelli. And he's talking about fighting again. I'm saying, come on, man. You know.
He could have fought in February.
Don't make a fool out of yourself.
He's made a fool of himself now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Very much so.
What does he hope to achieve from it, though?
And then he gets knocked out. He don't get knocked out. He giving the sport a bad. He gets knocked out for 1 and 2 minutes. He be out. He be laying down there for 1 and 2 and 3 minutes. They're gonna ban the sport of boxing in a minute. You know, you laying all out on the floor with your legs all open and stuff, laying there, knocked out like that. No, you don't need to do this shit. Come on, man.
Now, I read a post.
They're talking about he could have did good with Mike Tyson. Yeah, he could have did good with Mike Tyson until Mike Tyson landed a punch. He could have did very good with Mike Tyson until Mike Tyson landed a punch. And once Mike landed the punches, the fight was going to be over. If it wasn't over in that round, it would be over the next round, I'll tell you that. Because Mike Tyson was like Jaws, that big fish that was in the water. Once he lands that punch, he knows it. He knows, I got you. All right? I got you. Wait, as soon as this bell rings, I'm going to show you, I got you. I know it. So, I think that Vladimir Klitschko, like I said, if he comes back within the next 15 months, he can still shake the rust off and get back in there and win a world title.
Next 15 months? You're joking.
Yeah, because Vladimir Klitschko is always in a gym. He's a gym rat.
Yeah, but they don't make. But I don't. See, here's where, Uncle, I have to respectfully disagree with you. It don't matter how long he's in the gym. It don't matter how much he trains. If he's still stubborn, he's still ignorant. So he's still gonna make them stupid mistakes. He should have taken out Josh. If you're in front of a man and you've got a man knocked down, he should have taken Joshua out. For Joshua to come back and beat him up. That to me.
The corners tell him to do one thing. I guess he's trying to be obedient to the corner.
Well, exactly.
The corner, it's suggested for him to say, "Hey, pull back some."
Well,
it's easy to do, you know.
Well, for me,
I think the thing to do in that situation was to jump on Joshua.
Uncle, I'll be respectful again. I'll respectfully disagree with you and say to you, I think the thing he should have done going into the biggest fight of his career, he should have had you in his corner. That's what I think he should have done. Let's get that right first. Vladimir Klitschko saying that he was so passionate about winning the heavyweight championship of the world, and then he had the best possible, most experienced trainer to the side of him. He should have had you in the corner and then gone for Joshua. But that never happened. So as far as I'm concerned, no matter how much he's in the gym and how much he's training.
I think that, you know what, like I said, that God is always the best knower of situations.
Well, God might be the best knower of situations, but Vladimir Klitschko.
Let me say this to you. Let me say it to you. Because I would have never been effective in that corner with Vitaly in the corner with me. Vitaly would have had to go in order for me to be in that corner. Vladimir Klitschko is stubborn. He does not like change. So he brings in Jonathan Banks, and he brings in Vitaly Klitschko, and he does not put his foot down and say, look, I need to change some things. Effective in that corner without training Vladimir, because I need control of this corner. I don't train fighters with other trainers. I train the fighter, or either the other trainer trains the fighter, but we don't train fighters together. For me, it creates a lot of confusion with the fighter. One trainer trying to one thing, he's got his view about what should happen, and the other trainer got his view about what should happen, and it only causes conflict in the corner. Very rarely do you see a guy with two trainers that work a fight successfully. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but I'm saying very rarely does that work out. So I don't want to train the corner. If a fighter has a trainer, if a fighter invites me now, say, look, I want you to come in the corner with me. You know, my trainer. I don't want to be there because I can't be myself.
Well, according to Eugene, he says it's not even the corner. Banks is a wet napkin. Can't say shit to Vladimir, and not only nod. It's his big brother. It's his big bad brother.
I mean, Vitaly.
Yeah, Vitaly's the problem. Is his Banks ain't the problem, because you know, the impression people are getting in boxing is that Banks is. Well, I don't know, because I can't speak out. But the impression people are getting are that Klitschko runs the camp, and he tells Banks what to do.
Well, you know, the fact of the matter, Vladimir is 8 or 9 years older than Jonathan Banks. You know, and I'm just trying to understand, why did he do that? You know, why did he put? Because you know, Banks even alluded to the fact that I had never trained anyone. Why a long-time champion chose what obviously was a novice trainer? Why would he chosen to lead his corner? So, you know, people have said a lot of things, you know, that he could basically tell Jonathan what to do, what he was going to do, what he wasn't going to do. There was a lot of doubts at different times in the camp where Vladimir would tell Jonathan, well, I think this don't work. I think we need to do it like this. So I just don't understand it, and I'll never understand it. I'll never understand it. I'll never, ever understand that particular move. I think that I could have been more effective. And don't mistake me, Jonathan Banks is a nice guy, but nice doesn't maintain the heavyweight championship of the world. I think that he needed experience, stern experience in that corner. He needed somebody to stand up to him and say, no, this doesn't work. This is what works. I need you to do this. Not what you're asking to do, not what you wish to do, but what I need you to do. So you have to have somebody there who has vision, who has belief. And again, I'm not saying Jonathan Banks didn't have that. I'm just saying that this is just what over my head when he chose Jonathan Banks. I spent weeks in my mind saying, why did he do that? You know, and then he didn't after, you know, a couple of failures, particularly in the Jennings fight, I went to him and told him, hey man, you almost blew the heavyweight championship today. He got upset about that when I said that to him. He got upset with me, you know. But I said it nonetheless. It was serious. I was passionate about it.
So how did you go on?
I said, man, you almost blew the heavyweight championship, man. I I said, you need to make some changes here, man. That's how you're going to fight the fight. I said, you nearly over. I said, if Jennings, this is what I said to Latimer. If Jennings had a Joe Frazier or Evander Holyfield's mentality out there tonight, he would have won the title. But he didn't have that mentality. He had that mentality, and that's what cost Jennings the title. Because he didn't have that balls to the wall mentality as Joe Frazier or Evander Holyfield would have had. So for the life of me, I can't understand why he made that decision.
So,
but he did it.
How did your relationship with Emmanuel Stewart work when you were in the corner with Emmanuel? How did that work out then?
I never worked the corner with Emmanuel. I always worked the training camp, but I was never in the corner. People on the outside, they view things one way. People on the inside view things a whole different way. At the end, I think that at the end of Emmanuel's life, headed towards the end, maybe the last 3 years, I viewed myself as an adversary to Emmanuel Stewart. I felt that Emmanuel felt that I was getting too big for my britches, so to speak. This is the impression that I got from the great Emmanuel Stewart. We spent a lot of times in fighting, and I just felt that he didn't trust me anymore. He felt that I was just getting too big for my britches, and he used to do things and say things about me to stifle my growth, and I don't know what brought that on. Maybe it's something that somebody else put in his mind. Maybe it's something somebody else said to him about me or about my concerns. Well, I always made my concerns clear. To Emmanuel. I'd go to him and say, or I'd call him and say, Emmanuel, I'm concerned about this, or Emmanuel, I'm concerned about that, or Emmanuel, we need to do this, or Emmanuel, we need to do that. And I used to tell him exactly what I thought. And nobody in the entire camp, including Vladimir, would ever confront Emmanuel the way that I would. Nobody. I was always a stand-up guy, and I always told him what I felt. I would tell him in front of everybody, no, this is not right. This is what we need to do. Then all the other people would be there, and I'd tell them, no, this is not right. This is what we need to do. We need to apply like this here. We need to do that. We need to do it impulsively. I was in person before Emmanuel and I even aligned with ourselves with each other. I was a boxing person. I think Emmanuel was 6, maybe 7 years older than me. So he was like a big brother, And he always had that bully-like effect, And I said, no, that's not right. I would weigh things up in my head, and then I'd go back and I'd say, no, that's not right. This is the way that it should be. This is what we need to do. And I don't think that he liked that. I don't think that he liked that, but I stood up to him. I stood up to him like nobody else in the camp would.
I know one of the most famous stories that you told me, and I always use this as an example of the two worlds between yourself and Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart had Nassim Hamed, and when Hamed came into camp, you told me Hamed had a certain style, and you said that Hamed should stick with that style, whereas Emmanuel Stewart wanted to hold his feet and be more of a power puncher and rely on his power punching, and you were against that.
Emmanuel would get upset when the Prince would come in and do the boogaloo and switching stances and bobbing. And he had an awkward style. And from where I was sitting at, maybe the Prince felt differently about it. Maybe he saw differently. Maybe he felt different. From my perspective, he was trying to get the Prince to stand up more in a standard southpaw stance. And my point to him was, Man, leave this guy alone. Let him do let him do what got him here. He's most relaxed when he's doing that goofy stuff out there. So let him do what he needs to do to maintain the championship. And I think that Emmanuel's influence changed those things. I mean, Emmanuel didn't have a lot of patience with fighters. He didn't have a lot of patience. He would blow it in a minute. He would start screaming and hollering. He would get upset if the guy didn't do what he asked him to do. And you look at Chad Dawson and look at Jermaine Taylor, the way he would talk to them guys in the corner. You know, he wanted knockouts, plain and simple. He wanted knockouts. At any cost, he wanted to end those fights in knockouts. That was the kind of guy that Emmanuel Stewart was. He wanted to get KOs. I tell you, when you have trainers like Emmanuel and Freddie Roach and stuff like that, people tend to overlook their flaws, you know, because of their past successes. But there was a lot of flaws. I said, look, you need to do this or you need to do that. I was just like his conscience. Nobody would talk to Emmanuel in the training camp like I would talk to him. We would get into it quite often. But when we came out of the hotels or we got to the fight, you know, we were unified, you know. But I always expressed to him what I felt. I never pulled punches with him. His house, I stayed with him those years. And we'd get into it on the phone. We'd get into a phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be on the phone till 5 in the morning, arguing and fighting. You know? But the one thing I appreciated about him, he always sought counsel with me before a big fight. What do you think about this? What you think about that? How you think we need to approach this? How you think we need to approach that? It's just like the president. You know, he's got all these advisors around him. And I was one of those advisors for this president. You know, he'd come to me and say, what do you think about this? He said, yep, that's exactly what I thought. I thought the same thing. I thought the same exact thing that you're thinking. I just want to find out what's on your mind. That's what he was telling me. Always consult me. And 10 weeks before the fight, he went, okay, this is the guy we got. He said, start finding those small partners now. He said, I don't care where you got to search in the world. He said, find it. We need 7 of them. And I do it. And I think that was one of the critical things that Jonathan Banks didn't do. He never sought counsel with me. He never asked me what I thought. He never called me about the small partners, you know, because he claims that he was doing it himself. But I don't think that's a trainer's job. You know, I think that the trainer's got to have people around him that he can rely on. You know, there's different things about boxing that I could have passed on to him, but he never asked. You know, he never asked. So you never get to the end of the road. You get something from one person, just keep it. It's like a relay race. You just pass the baton on, and you know, you try to get as much as you can. But Emmanuel was a good trainer, but he was stubborn. He was bullheaded. He wanted knockouts at any cost. He wanted knockouts. He was always looking for the knockout. Freddie Roach is always looking for the knockout. You know, these people are always looking for the knockout. Just the kind of trainer he was.
Your friend Teddy Atlas recently got pulled from, I think, ESPN or HBO. He got pulled from doing commentary.
Yeah, I know. You know, Ted's ESPN, and I think they still got about 2 years on the contract, but they're gonna put him behind the scenes. He lasted longer at ESPN than I thought that he would initially. You know, but you know, I'm not a Teddy Atlas fan, but I will say this: that he did bring an air of reality ESPN Boxing, he confronted the issues that the fans wanted him to confront about those bad scoring with those screwed up judges. Teddy would speak out against that, in such an emotional way that ESPN said, no, we got to pull the plug on this guy. Because Teddy would say, look, we need to expose these judges, which I agree with. They need more commentators in the sport, such as a Teddy Atlas. So I agree with Teddy on those different issues that he used to raise during those fights.
The rumor is he got fired because he went up to Jeff Horn and said, "You lost that fight and you knew it."
Yeah, that was one of them. That was one of the reasons. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. The Jeff Horn fight.
Yes.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it was debatable. It was enough to debate that whether he lost it or not. What did you think about the fight?
I thought because it was in Australia that Horn got the victory because he was in Australia. I thought Pacquiao won the fight personally.
I thought Pacquiao won the fight.
I thought they just gave it to Jeff Horn because he was in Australia, and that it was an opportunity to make a new cash cow.
I thought that Horn lost the fight. I thought Pacquiao won the fight. He should have got the unanimous decision. Teddy spoke out against it. But he lasted at ESPN longer than I thought he would. That's for sure. Longer than I thought he would.
Okay, let's talk about the other great fight that happened the other day involving Lomachenko and Rigondeaux.
What about him?
Your thoughts on the stoppage or the quitting?
These fights, I just don't understand. I don't understand how a Rigondeaux could just say, no, I'm out. I can't understand that. I can't understand why he said, I'm out. This fight is over. So, it's not that nobody can say it, but I don't agree with it. And it's not Lomachenko's fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault at all.
So, Lomachenko, what do you think of the new name, Lomachenko?
Well, that's the way it looks. People's pulling out on him left and right. That's why the people want to see him in a fight. This kid Davis is right there. He should be, ready to accept it.
What do you think,
But Floyd has said no. He got time. He's young. He's young. I agree with that. If he wasn't the champion,
Davis is the new Adrian Broner.
What did you say?
Do you think Gervonta Davis has the potential to be the new Adrian Broner?
He doesn't have good role models around him, I don't think. He has a typical Baltimore street mentality, getting in squabbles in public and things like that there, and not thinking about his marketing value. He's still got that dog street-like mentality. So, yeah, he can wind up just like Adrian Broner. They'll understand later in life, if God blessed them to live long enough, they'll understand later in life that the things that they're doing now will affect their careers for the rest of their lives. Adrian Broner riding around with bullet holes in a car and stuff. I mean, they think that stuff is cool. But it's not, It's not. And it will haunt them when they finally come to grips grow up and become more mature, those things they're doing now will come to haunt them.
Explain that further.
You know, driving around with bullet holes in the car, or, you know, beating up your girlfriend, punching a guy in the mouth at a bar. You know, all those things will come back to haunt them later in their lives, even after their careers, where they're not thinking about marketing, you know, about how to market themselves. They can't do those kind of things and become a good marketing value. You look at LeBron James, squeaky clean. You look at Shaquille O'Neal, squeaky clean. You look at all these successful people who had careers after their main career was over, because they stayed squeaky clean. You know, you like Adrian Broner, and even now, Javonte Davis is doing different things. You better wait and get your belt up. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. I mean, Floyd Mayweather never missed weight all of those years. Never missed weight all of those years. You know, and that's the difference in a true professional who loves what he's doing, who has respect for what he's doing. So what I'm saying is that when these guys do things like that, they're not looking on the other side of the fence. They're not looking about what happens after my boxing career is over. Can I still market myself? You know, and most kids, they won't be able to do it. Not even Floyd can make people forget, you know, that he beat up killed his mother. That's not going to go away.
You're breaking up a bit, Uncle.
I said that fact that he beat up his children's mother, that fact is not going to go away.
No, it's not.
And what this kid Adrian Broner is doing now, every time I turn around, he's doing something. He's going to jail for something. He's beating up somebody in a parking lot. He's driving around with bullet holes in a car. So these things that they think are harmless, cute, young people's things will come back to haunt them later.
Now, there is some. I think there is somebody. Sometimes I think there's somebody behind promoters pushing these guys so they get more views.
Well, it's like I say, everybody has to have people around them, especially when you're in the public's eye. You've got to have people around you to step in and grab you by the arm and say, wait a minute. You might not want to do that. But the professionals that are out there, they don't incorporate themselves like that. They don't bring people in and say, listen, I need you here for this specific job to stop me from doing dumb shit. I need somebody to step in, you know, to warn me, to caution me, to at least give me a chance. If you got a person to step in and say, wait a minute, step over here for a minute. You don't need to do this at this time with these people, so walk away from it. Now, whether you agree with that person at that time or not, you hired that person for that specific job, so you at least need to step aside and listen.
Now, I read something the other day. Do you remember Alan Minter?
Yeah, I remember Alan Minter.
Do you remember Alan Minter made a statement? Yeah, he made a statement. He said that he ain't gonna let no black man take his title. Do you remember he said that?
Really?
He made a statement. Yeah, that was a statement. I remember hearing that statement years ago about Minter. And I'm gonna redirect it to what you're talking about here. Minter said it, and
well, Hopkins said it about Kalazaki.
I know. Now Minter said that, but I only read an article about a month ago that Minter finally admitted that it wasn't his idea; it was his promoter's idea for him to say that crap.
What a dumb thing to do.
And you see, if that was the case, that Minter did follow that, for all his career and all his life after boxing, he's been branded a racist. Think about that. Just for making a statement, because one promoter who wasn't going to catch fire, he's had to deal with it. Now,
again, nobody around to caution him, don't do that. I remember one time Vladimir says to me, when he get ready to fight David Hay, we was just sitting around talking, he and I, and he said, Bashir, when we get to the press conference, I'm going to go into the room and I'm going to tell David Hay, I'm going to beat your black ass. I said, whoa, lad, wait a minute, man. Don't say that. He said, why? You know, because he didn't think that was wrong with it. I said, no. I said, lad, don't say that. I said, that ain't cool, you know. And he listened to me. But he had all his speech all prepared. They're here, I'm going to be your black ass. I said, no, don't say that. I said, no, lad, wait a minute. I said, don't say that. Don't say that. I said, that's not cool.
Now, hold on.
Said,
now, I have to stop you right there. I know what your relationship is with Vladimir Klitschko, but people listening to this will think, hold on, uncle. If he's got those sort of words in his mouth to say, and fix his mouth to say those things, then is that what he really thinks, or?
No, I think looking into his face, looking into his eyes, no, I didn't get that racist part of it. I think that he thought that it was harmless, and he had that look on his face like it was harmless. It was a ploy just to promote the fight. And he was enthusiastic about that. I said, baby, hey, I'm going to be your black ass. You know, I'm going to kick. I said, no, lad, you can't say that. He said, what? What is wrong? I said, no, you can't say that, though. Not like that, lad. You know, and I caught, and he didn't say it, you know, but he thought that it was harmless. He thought he was just promoting the fight, you know. He wasn't. I never got racism from Vladimir or Vitaly.
Yeah, I know that. I know what they've done for you as well, so I understand. Now, this guy is a guy called Philip here, Philip Yole. He says, my father, rest in peace to him, was at the Minter versus Hagler fight. I am white. My dad was a huge Marvin Hagler fan and said it was disgusting beer thrown. All the white people going insane. He says, Philip Yole, UK, says, my father, rest in peace to him, was at the Minter versus Hagler fight. I'm white. My dad was a huge Marvin Hagler fan, and he said it was disgusting beer thrown. All the white people going crazy, going insane.
I remember the fight.
He said, he continues saying,
I remember them throwing bottles and stuff into the ring.
He says, my dad had a Marvin Hagler poster over his workbench at work. Rest in peace to him. Disgusting. I was 10, I think, saw it on television. Disgusting shit.
Well, that was the Britain of yesteryear. And maybe it's still like Britain. Maybe they don't show it as much.
Well, Tony G says there was always right boxing matches if our man lost a part of the game, son. Then he turns around and says, I was at Bruno versus Witherspoon at Wembley, riot. There too, we raided the stalls. But I remember those days because when people used to lose fights, there were riots. When the hometown fight in the UK lost the fight, there were riots. I remember it.
Very seldom did that happen in America because they'll lock their asses up.
Yes.
You go to jail. You ride in America, you go to jail right from the arena.
You remember Durrell's? Was it Andre Durrell's uncle?
Yeah.
I think he got I think something happened to him.
Huh? Like what?
I'm sure. I think he was suspended from the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Suspended from even trade or corner for a fight or something like that.
Is that all?
That's what I think it was. Yeah, for one fight, I think.
He should have got suspended for a year or two and charged with assault.
Yeah. It's not right, really, is it? Not right at all.
A year or two, and got charged with assault.
Did you get to see the Carson Jones fight against Margarito?
Yes, I did.
Have you ever seen such a joke in your life?
No, that was bad.
What I couldn't understand, Carson Jones almost had Margarito out on his feet. He goes back to the corner, slouches on his stool, right? The next minute, the referee's waving it off in the corner. I think the fight's over. Then Margarito gets up with a big smile on his face, his hands in the air, arms aloft, and he's given a decision. Have you ever seen any crap like that?
No.
Ever?
I'm trying to figure out why the fight was stopped.
The referee stopped the fight in the corner because Margarito didn't want to come out because he was getting the life beaten out of him. And then the next minute, the referee stopped it. Then they've gone to the scorecards and said that he was cut. And they said that he won the fight on points.
Help Margarito going down the line. He also had a fight. I thought Carson was doing good in that fight.
So did I. I thought he was coming on strong.
The promoter, whoever's behind Margarito, didn't want him to lose that fight. That's why the fight was stopped.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, Carson's back. He fights this. He fights this Saturday against a guy called Perry, and then he fights Ted Cheeseman. Perry, he's his chief sparring partner. So he'll be fighting him. He said he had that booked a long time ago, so he couldn't get out of it. And then he's fighting Ted Cheeseman in March, I think. Ted Cheeseman, one of Eddie Hearn's fighters. One of these young guys that haven't been tested or backed up. One of them kind of guys. Nice record. Unbeaten against someone like Jones. Dangerous fight.
Jones is a gatekeeper now. But he's a lively gatekeeper. He cause problems.
What did you make of James DeGale's performance against Caleb Truax?
Sorry.
Sorry.
James DeGale to me is like an underachiever.
That's my point.
You know, he had no business losing that fight. He had no business. It's like he was sleepwalking out there. And he's always getting beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, James DeGale has fights, and he makes what could and should be easy fights. He makes them into wars. Gets knocked down, he's getting cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, and then he's upset because he loses to Badu Jack. But you had nobody to blame but yourself. So I just about giving up on DeGale.
I think he's finished personally. I think Trex is going. If they have the rematch in March, I think Trex will come back and stop him.
If it's anything like the first fight, yeah, you're probably right.
Because I can't see DeGale improving. I think that Badu Jack took his soul, and I just don't see him improve. I don't see him improving, to be honest. He's in decline, fast decline.
Yeah. Well, he could be. Yeah, he could be. He could easily be, you know.
It's not good.
No, I don't. Like I said, I've got to the point where I don't even watch the Gale no more. He doesn't appeal to me, you know. Every fight that he has, he's turning the fight into a war unnecessarily, and he just doesn't appeal to me anymore.
I don't know if you managed to see the videotape of Doctius and his knockout over his trainer.
Yeah, I saw it.
What did you think?
Like I said, boxing is not the same as it was yesterday. How you knock the trainer out? And he hit him too. He hit him clean.
It was a good shot. Obviously, he's trained to have that good a chin.
Anybody can have a good chin if you're not prepared for punches. like they say in boxing, the punch that hurts you the most is the one that you're not expecting and you don't see. The guy wasn't expecting for that punch to come through. So it's easy to clip a guy and knock him out then. You know? It's just crazy. I'd have been pissed off with him, man. You hit me on my boy. I'd have been pissed off.
And the thing is, it was recorded and somebody posted it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So who's
the work cut out for him in that fight?
here for Doctius?
It's hard to say. He's going into Russia, and he's fighting a known lethal puncher. I see Garcia knocking him out. I wasn't impressed with Dornicus. He might be a good puncher, but I saw him in his last fight in that tournament. I wasn't impressed with him. I think that when I saw him fighting the Polish kid, I thought that he was like an ABC kind of a fighter, you know, that he could be figured out 2 or 3 rounds to get knocked out. I think Garcia stops him.
Wow. I rate Garcia very highly.
Huh?
I rate Garcia very highly.
Yeah, with that kind of punching power, that's not unintelligent, you know, to rate him high. I mean, he has a great punching power in either hand. You know, he can cause problems for the least fighter. He can cause problems.
But you know what? I rate him, and I rate Breedis as well. I rate Marius Breedis as well.
What you read about Breedis?
I think he's a good. I rate him as well. I think he's a very good fighter. The way he moved up to heavyweight and knocked out Manuel Shah was something very impressive.
Yeah, and Shaw's the WBA champion, right?
Yeah, and Breedis went and knocked him out. Remember? And that was with, and he did that, and not even Vitaly Klitschko could have done that.
Yeah, I think Breedis caught him clean and got him out there. So
Yeah.
you think that Breedis and Usyk is getting ready to fight?
I know.
It's a good fight.
I think Breedis is a good fighter.
Breedis has been in the Vladimir Klitschko camp at least on 3 occasions, so I had a chance to see him up close and personal. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, you know. Can he make the adjustments to beat a Alexander Usyk? Remains to be seen. I think Usyk will give him hell with that movement and speed. You know, I think that when Breedis goes to punch, that Usyk won't be there.
Okay.
Usyk's boxing skills, 7 or 8 of that 12-round fight.
What about if Usyk decides to hold his feet?
Do what?
What about if Usyk decides to be more aggressive and engage with Breeders?
You know, people underestimate Usyk. He's a very strong guy. He's very physically strong. He doesn't get enough credit for that there, but physically he's a strong individual. And he has a hell of a work ethic too. So I think that if he wanted to stay there with Breeders, he could do that too. If Breeders tries to push up on Usyk, you'll see the toughest Usyk come out. I'm saying Usyk wins that fight with Breeders by split decision, unless he cuts Breeders. The fight will go to a distance, and Usyk wins the decision.
Does he beat Gassiev though?
You know, that's the fight that everybody wants to see. I think Usyk outspeeds him, outboxes him. But the question will be, can Usyk take that punch? Can he take the Gassiev punch? Abel Sanchez said that Gassiev, not Usyk, is the best cruiserweight in the world. I beg to differ. I've had the chance to look at Usyk up close and personal. This guy has a work ethic that's out the door.
I would
saying that.
Yeah, it would have been great to have you and Abel Sanchez head to head in that matchup, Usyk versus Gassiev. That'd have been fantasy for me.
Yeah, I think that Usyk wins this tournament. By hook, by crook, I think Usyk wins this tournament. I think that he'll have to go through hell and high water with the Gassiev fight, but I think at the end that Gassiev will lose to Usyk via decision. And if he's not careful, Usyk will stop him with that speed. Speed is a very, very big factor.
But timing beats speed, Uncle. You know this.
Yeah, well, try timing somebody like Usyk. Just try timing him. Think about what you see in Usyk in your mind. Try timing him. It's hard to time a guy like Usyk because Usyk is one of those guys that'll make up something as he goes. He'll do something and he'll say, you know what, I'm going to do this here. He'll do something totally different from what you think. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm almost dismissing Dorticus and Breeders. I'm almost dismissing them, trying to get to this other fight.
Yeah, a fight we all want to see, really. The other fight that's of great interest is George Groves against Chris Eubank Jr.
Chris Eubank Jr. is a hard worker, but I just don't think he can beat Groves.
Wow.
I think Groves upsets him mentally. I think Eubank is trying to be so impressive. I think Groves is going to out-hustle him and beat him. And he can't be out-hustled. I saw Billy Joe Saunders do it. Right?
Yeah, but he says he'll never start slow again in a fight.
What happened?
He said he'll never start slow in a fight again.
Okay. Does anybody in your listening audience think that Groves has a chance against Ben?
Philip says Groves, for people I know who know him, has a touch of the Gales. Had too many hard fights. Eubanks is fresh.
Okay. I can respect that. So Rose has too many hard fights.
Yeah. I think that those fights have toughened up George Groves, because George Groves I felt was very soft. Like he was able to give it out, but he wasn't very good at taking it. But it seemed to me now the fight he fought against what's this guy's name? The champion he beat Chudinov, and then he fought Cox. Both guys were coming to bring it at Groves, and he seemed to handle it a bit better. So that may put him in good stead against Eubank Jr. And in both of those fights, he was able to pull out the big punch.
I'm going to go with Groves by decision. However close it might be, I go with Groves by decision. Not unless Eubank cuts him. Unless Eubank cuts him, then I go with Groves by decision. Or either split.
What do you make of Amir Khan? Oh. Yep, we're gonna. What do you make of Amir Khan? My battery's going to go low, so we'll have to cut soon.
What do I make of Amir Khan?
Yes.
He's still fighting?
He's calling out the welterweights. 2018.
Okay. I think that he should have been more busier in 2017 and 2016. I think that the curtains is about to come down on his career next time he gets knocked out.
Well, that could be between Errol Spence could do it, Keith Thurman could do it, Danny Garcia could do it.
Yeah, I think that the curtains is about to come down on his career. I think that time in 2016, 2017.
All right.
I think there's a whole new crop of fighters coming up in that welterweight division that can cause some problems.
Final question. Your thoughts on Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson? One of my favorite fighters, Lamont Peterson, against a guy that I like.
I think Errol Spence is going to be too fresh and too aggressive for him.
Okay.
I see Errol Spence winning that fight in 5-6 rounds. Hard punches to the body. I think Lamont's going to stay there. I don't think he's going to run from him. If he stays there, he gets knocked out in 5 to 6 rounds. I think the fight to look out for is Crawford versus Spence. That's the fight.
Who wins that?
Whew. I sure like to see it. I sure like to see it.
Oh, one other fight I've got to mention to you. 2 other fights very quickly. Joshua versus Parker.
Joshua 10th, 11th round stoppage.
Okay. And Dillian White versus Lucas Brown.
Dillian White wins that fight. Dillian White wins that fight. He might stop Lucas Brown too.
Why'd you say that?
Lucas Brown been doing what for the last 2 years? Holding his nuts. Dillian White's been working. I think that Dillian White. When is that fight due to happen?
Somewhere in March, I think.
Dillian White beats him. I think he stops him late. 10th, 11th round, he stops him.
Okay. Wilder Ortiz.
It's the if factor, if Deontay has the tools to keep Ortiz at bay for 5 rounds, he'll beat him. If he can keep him at bay for 5 rounds. But if Ortiz gets on the inside, he can cause really big problems. So it's just hard to pick up a winner in that fight. Nobody knows how old Ortiz is, Some people saying that he's 50, Some people saying he's 45, you know?
No, he's 40. He's closer to 48 because that's what Mansour keeps telling me.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there, but he's well conditioned. He needs to keep Ortiz at bay for 5 or 6 rounds, tire him out a little bit, and then go to work on him.
I actually think that Wilder's going to splatter him because I don't think Ortiz has ever fought a real puncher.
Well, he's fighting one this time, but on the other hand, Wilder got to watch out for Ortiz's punch too.
Yes.
Because Wilder gets caught. You've seen a couple of fights where Wilder got caught. Wilder's not shy when it comes to taking punches now. Remember he fought Dupas, right? You remember the Dupas fight, right?
Yes, I do.
You know, and he was getting hit in that fight. Dupas was beating him up with a jab, and he was busting him hard, you know?
Okay.
You know, Deontay came through, you know? So this is a wait-and-see fight here, you know?
One more thing I'm going to say as my battery's about to die. Going to talk very quickly about Bryant Jennings, who is my tip to eventually become heavyweight champion of the world.
I don't know about that.
Your thoughts?
I don't know about that. Bryant Jennings is a good fighter, you know, but I think that his son has risen and gone down on the valley of the almost couldas, you know.
Yep.
I think the son has risen and gone down on his career. I think that he'll always be a viable contender, but winning the heavyweight championship, I don't think he beats a Joseph Parker.
That's interesting.
Then he got to fight Huey Fury. He got some fights to get back to the top now, you know.
I think he can
His
do it.
His best opportunity was to go in there and beat Vladimir Klitschko, and he didn't roll the dice. He was more concerned about not getting knocked out than he was about winning the title. And that's what I impress upon Vlad Sirenko and Rowan Visser. I impress upon them that once you're in there for the heavyweight championship, you got to roll the dice.
Yeah.
You got to roll the dice. You got to get in good condition and get your mind made up that I'm here for the heavyweight championship of the world, and I ain't leaving without the belt. Now, if you get knocked out or something, then I'll be the first one in the locker room to say, hey, man, you gave it a good shot, and I'm proud of you, you know.
Okay.
But that's what this is all about. They've got to understand that's what this is all about.
Okay.
And so, Bryant Jennings, he got the... I'd like to see Bryant Jennings versus Dillian White. I'd like to see Bryant Jennings versus Jarrell Miller.
Yep.
You know? Those are great fights to make, you know, to prove yourself. If Jennings can be a viable contender for the heavyweight championship of the world, then he needs to be the Dillian White. He needs to be the Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller and Dillian White would be a hot fight.
I think there's no doubt that Jennings is going to get himself in the mix. I think he'll make wise, smart decisions. And I think that's what's going to get him a chance at the piece at the heavyweight title for sure.
Tim Witherspoon, Larry Holmes, David Bay, Mike Weaver, you know, Ernie, all of those guys was in the mix against each other. You had the top 20 that was fighting each other all of the time. Now we live in an age where people just go in a hat and come up with a name. Adrian Broner, we was talking about his fights earlier.
Yeah.
You're boxing people who nobody heard of them before you, and nobody heard of them after you. So it makes me suspect about those titles that he won. Mm-hmm. Because nobody heard about these people before you.
Never heard about them afterwards.
And if you put their name in the computer now and find out the last time they fought, then you can see how suspect they were. Very true. And I'm coming from an era in the 70s and the 60s where the contenders fought each other all the time. So I think that a fight between Dillian White and Jarrell Miller. I think that's a great fight. A great fight. If they let me matchmake, I have them all fighting. I have all of them fighting. You know, I have all of them fighting inside of 6 months. They'd all be fighting.
Okay.
But you got these guys up there. You got these guys fighting bodies. You know what I'm saying? Can you see that Dillian White and Jarrell Miller? That's a good fight.
Yeah.
Dillian White versus Brian Jennings. Jarrell Miller versus Brian Jennings. These are good fights, man. I was telling Vlad and Ron, teams out here, we're going to go for it this year. We're going to go for it. We're looking for fights this year. We're going to fight anybody that comes in our radar. We're going to fight them.
You should come to the UK. You should come and take some fights in the UK, Uncle.
Huh?
Come and fight some of the British heavyweights.
You know, I'm not looking to avoid nothing and nobody. I'm not that kind of trainer. I'm training fighters to fight. I've got confidence in my fighters, and the fighters got to have confidence in me. And once that marriage is made, then they know the kind of trainer I am. I'm a boxing trainer. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna put pressure for knockouts. Sure, I'll take a knockout, but I'm more interested in winning the fight.
Okay, Uncle, I'm gonna have to stop you there because our battery's about on 1%.
Okay, all right.
Do you have a message to everybody who's been listening?
Just stay tuned. This is 2018, and we get ready to go for a ride again. I hope that 2018 be better for everybody than 2017 was, and I hope that your families and your loved ones and everybody is doing well. The boxing family survives this 2018.
There we go. Just lost Uncle Bashir. We've just lost Uncle Bashir from 1% battery. Thank you all so much for listening to BWTM Sports. This has been the beginning of 2018. Stick with us. We've got some big news for you coming up soon. Take care. And thanks again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about BWTM. Share the video. And of course, leave your comments in the comment section.